There is a moment in every person's life when the world around them grows heavy. It might happen quietly, without warning, or it might arrive with the unmistakable force of a storm. You wake up one day and realize that the weight you are carrying, your stress, your doubts, your fears, has become more than background noise. It has become a presence that shapes your choices, influences your reactions, distorts your perception, and quietly drains the energy you once took for granted. For a long time, conversations about these inner struggles were dominated by a single theme. Something is wrong with you, and you need to fix it. The lens was narrow, almost punitive, and the tone often felt like an interrogation. Why are you anxious? Why can't you focus? Why do you feel lost? Why aren't you stronger? But the truth is far more complex and far more hopeful. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not failing. You are experiencing what millions of people around the world experience every day: the collision between human emotion and human expectation. And that collision is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of being alive. This episode is not about pathology. It is not a clinical dissection of your inner world. It is not another lecture on fixing yourself or diagnosing yourself. Instead, it is a conversation about building forward even when the ground beneath you feels unstable. It is about reclaiming momentum. It is about learning to move, not because you have conquered every fear or healed every wound, but because life continues and you deserve to continue with it. There are problems, yes. There are roots to those problems and patterns and stories behind them. There are events you did not choose, challenges you did not anticipate, and emotions you did not plan to feel. But there's also something bigger than all of this: your capacity to rise, to adapt, to persist, to evolve. In the next 40 minutes, I want to take you somewhere, out of the familiar cycle of what's wrong and into a new internal landscape where the question shifts to, what now? What do you do with your pain? What do you do with your confusion? What do you do with the pressure, the uncertainty, the disappointments, the unfinished chapters in your life? Because you cannot wait for a perfect moment to begin again. And you do not need to be fully healed to take your next step. The people you admire, the ones who look strong and confident from the outside, they are not fearless. They are not untouched by doubt. They're simply moving through life with their fear, instead of waiting for it to disappear. So in this episode, we will explore what it means to keep moving, what it means to stay human in a world that demands perfection, what it means to acknowledge your pain without becoming defined by it, what it means to shift from rumination to action, from paralysis to progress, from stagnation to renewal. You're not the only one who feels lost sometimes. You're not the only one who wakes up with a sense of heaviness you can't fully explain. You're not the only one who looks at the past and wonders why certain moments hurt more than they should. You're not the only one who feels behind or overwhelmed or uncertain about the path ahead. This is not your private flaw. This is the shared experience of being human. And here's the part that matters. You can carry this truth without surrendering to it. You can learn from it without letting it limit you. You can hold space for your emotions while still moving forward with intention and purpose. So, take a breath. Let the noise fade for a moment. You are here now, and that is enough. In this first part of the journey, we will set the stage for everything that follows. We will examine the emotional architecture of struggle, not as a burden to escape, but as a landscape to navigate. You will begin to see that your internal obstacles do not need to be demolished before you begin your next chapter. They simply need to be understood. Together, we will explore 3 foundational ideas. First, you cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control the meaning you give it. Second, progress is not a transformation you do once. It is a rhythm you create every day, even imperfectly. Third, you are not meant to do this alone. Even when the journey feels solitary, the experiences behind it are universal. This episode is not designed to tell you how to live. It is here to remind you that you already have the capacity to live differently than you do now. That capacity may be dormant, buried under fatigue, stress, or the chaos of daily responsibilities, but it is still there. It has not left you. It has not expired. It has not been diminished by your mistakes, your regrets, or your fears. You might feel stuck, but you are not. You are paused, temporarily, and pauses can be powerful. They can be openings, turning points, silent invitations for change. By the time we finish, my goal is simple: that you leave this episode feeling less alone, more grounded, and more capable of taking those first steps toward the life you want. Not the perfect life, not the imagined life, the real one, the one you can build one small action at a time. So let's begin. Let's talk about the weight you carry, and more importantly, let's talk about the strength you have not yet given yourself credit for. Before you can move forward, you must understand what is holding you in place. Not to dissect yourself endlessly, not to analyze every emotion under a microscope, but to gain clarity, to see the terrain you are walking on with open eyes. Because the weight you feel is never random. It has a source. It has a logic. It has a history. Human beings do not break under pressure simply because life becomes difficult. They break when the pressure becomes disconnected from meaning. When the demands you face no longer align with your values, your needs, or your inner compass. When you spend too much time pretending everything is fine, while internally you are running out of oxygen. Often, that internal heaviness begins quietly. It begins with unmet expectations, disappointment, small failures that accumulate, responsibilities that exceed your capacity, or a sudden event that shakes the ground beneath you. It begins when you feel obligated to carry more than you can reasonably hold, yet you keep carrying it anyway, because you believe you have to. But the real weight, the one that drains your strength, does not come from the outside. It comes from the stories you attach to your experiences. For example, stress becomes heavier when you tell yourself you should handle everything effortlessly. Sadness becomes heavier when you tell yourself you should be stronger by now. Fear becomes heavier when you tell yourself you're the only one who feels this way. Fatigue becomes heavier when you tell yourself you have no right to rest. The weight is not the event, it is the meaning. And that meaning is often inherited. Sometimes from childhood, sometimes from past relationships, sometimes from cultural expectations, sometimes from social pressure. You learn to internalize certain beliefs about success, worth, resilience, emotion, and those beliefs become the filters through which you interpret your entire life. If you were taught that emotions are a sign of weakness, then every moment of vulnerability feels like failure. If you were taught that achievement defines your value, then every setback feels like a threat to your identity. If you're taught to stay quiet, to endure, to push through, then asking for help feels impossible. If you were taught that others come first, then your own needs become invisible, even to yourself. This is why the weight feels so personal, because it is not simply the world pressing down on you. It is the world pressing down on beliefs that were never designed to support the complexity of your life. So before you can move forward, you must look inward with honesty. Not judgment, not self-criticism, just clarity. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that no longer belongs to me? What burdens am I holding out of habit, not necessity? Which expectations am I trying to meet that were never truly mine? Where did I learn that I must handle everything alone? You might find that the emotional heaviness you experience today has roots stretching far beyond the present moment. You might discover that your stress is not only about your current responsibilities, but also about a lifelong tendency to overextend yourself. You might see that your anxiety is not only about future uncertainty, but also about old fears you never had the space to express. And you might realize that your sadness is not simply a reaction to what happened, but to what never had the chance to happen. Understanding where the weight comes from does not eliminate it overnight, but it changes your relationship with it. It gives you language. It gives you awareness. It gives you the ability to respond with intention instead of instinct. And here is an important truth. Nothing you discover about yourself is a sign of weakness. Every insight is a step toward strength. Because awareness is the beginning of agency. When you understand your patterns, you can interrupt them. When you understand your triggers, you can navigate them. When you understand your emotional landscape, you stop feeling lost within it. There is also the weight of comparison. It is subtle, but it is powerful. You look at other people and assume they're coping better than you. You assume they're more confident, more stable, more competent, more in control. But comparison is a distortion. You are comparing your internal chaos to someone else's external presentation. And that is a battle you will lose every time. No one shows you their full truth, not even the people closest to you. Everyone is carrying something invisible. Everyone is negotiating their own internal storms. Everyone is fighting battles you will never see. You're not behind. You are not losing. You are not uniquely flawed. You are simply human in a world that demands superhuman resilience. Another source of weight is the expectation of certainty. You were raised to believe you must have a clear plan, a clear purpose, a clear direction. And when life becomes uncertain, you interpret that uncertainty as a personal failure. But uncertainty is not a flaw in your path. It is the natural condition of growth. Every major shift in your life, every new beginning, every transformation starts in uncertainty. You do not get clarity first. You get movement first. Clarity follows. The weight also comes from silence, the things you feel but never express. Emotions you suppress do not disappear. They accumulate. They crystallize. They become physical tension, mental fog, emotional fatigue. They take up space inside you until there is no space left for anything else. It takes courage to speak honestly, even to yourself. It takes courage to say, I am overwhelmed, or I need help, or I don't know what to do next. But those small admissions are the first cracks in the armor that has been suffocating you. Finally, the weight comes from speed. Modern life demands constant acceleration, constant improvement, constant adaptation. You are expected to respond immediately, perform consistently, and grow endlessly. There is no pause, no stillness, no space to breathe. You're living in a loop of urgency, and your nervous system was not designed for that. So when your mind and body slow down, not out of laziness, but out of necessity, you interpret it as failure. But slowing down is not failure. It is a signal, a natural, biological request for recalibration. Understanding the origins of your weight is not about blaming yourself, your past, or the world around you. It is about recognizing that your experience is not random, it is patterned. And the moment you see the pattern, you gain the power to change it. The first step in moving forward is accepting a simple truth. You do not need to have everything figured out. In fact, you will never have everything figured out. Life is not a straight line, and no one carries a complete map. The notion that you must have clarity, control, and certainty before taking action is a trap, a heavy weight that adds to everything else you are carrying. It is a standard that no human can meet, yet many of us strive for it daily, exhausting ourselves in the attempt. Moving forward begins in the gray space, between confusion and clarity. It begins in the tension of uncertainty. It begins with a single step, even if you cannot see the entire path. And the courage to take that step comes not from knowing, but from willingness. Willingness to engage with life despite discomfort, to act despite doubt, and to trust that the process itself will teach you what you need to learn. This may feel counterintuitive. We are conditioned to believe that understanding comes before action. But real growth, real progress, does not wait for perfect understanding. Growth comes from doing. Movement creates clarity, not the other way around. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to start walking. The challenge is that when you feel heavy, stagnant, or uncertain, every step seems monumental. Every decision feels like it carries too much weight. You may feel paralyzed, unable to prioritize, trapped in the fog. And this is where self-compassion is critical. The first act of courage is allowing yourself to be exactly where you are. Acknowledging that you are overwhelmed, that you are tired, that life feels complex and heavy. There is no weakness in this acknowledgement. On the contrary, it is the beginning of agency. Agency is the recognition that, even under pressure, there are small choices you can make. Choices that restore a sense of control and momentum. They are not dramatic transformations. They are micro steps, but their cumulative effect is powerful. For instance, beginning your day with one conscious action, a stretch, a brief walk, writing a line in a journal, or even choosing to notice one thing you're grateful for, sets a tone. These small acts create cracks in the weight you carry, allowing light to seep in gradually. Movement, even in tiny increments, is the antidote to stagnation. Another essential principle is prioritizing presence over perfection. Too often, we postpone action because we want it to be perfect. We wait for ideal circumstances, complete certainty, or the right moment. The truth is that life rarely offers these conditions. Perfect clarity is a myth. Perfection is an illusion. But presence is real. Your presence, in any form, at any moment, has an impact. Showing up for yourself, even imperfectly, shifts energy. It signals to your brain and your body that you're not surrendering, that you're alive and engaged, that you are moving forward. Moving forward also requires letting go of comparison. The digital age amplifies comparison relentlessly. We scroll, we observe, we measure ourselves against the curated successes of others, and we feel inadequate. But those external benchmarks are not yours. They are someone else's journey. Progress is personal. It is measured by your own small steps, your internal growth, and the alignment between your actions and your values. Let go of the scoreboard that doesn't belong to you and focus instead on your own rhythm. Equally important is acknowledging your limits. Moving forward does not mean pushing yourself beyond reason or denying your need for rest. It means working within the bandwidth you have, expanding it gradually, and allowing your body and mind to guide your pace. Burnout is the enemy of progress. Respecting your limits is not failure. It is preparation. Every step you take is stronger when it comes from a place of replenishment rather than depletion. Another foundational practice is curiosity toward your own experience. Instead of labeling your heaviness as bad or wrong, approach it with interest. Ask, what does this heaviness tell me? Where does it appear most in my life? What patterns does it follow? Curiosity creates a different relationship with your inner world. It transforms weight from something oppressive into something informative. It allows you to learn from your emotional signals instead of being crushed by them. Movement also thrives on small, deliberate choices that reclaim your energy. For example, establish a short morning routine that grounds you. Dedicate 5 minutes each day to an activity that brings joy or clarity. Set one boundary that protects your emotional or mental space. Reach out to someone you trust and share a fragment of your experience. These are not monumental changes. They're not grand gestures. They're the scaffolding that allows consistent growth. Over time, the scaffolding supports more significant strides, but it begins with these small, deliberate choices. Finally, moving forward is reinforced by reframing setbacks as part of the journey. You will stumble. You will regress. You will feel heavier again. This is natural. Growth is not linear. Resistance is inevitable. But each return to action, each recommitment after pause, strengthens your capacity. Each time you rise, you are building resilience, not merely surviving, but learning to navigate life with increasing competence and confidence. So, as you sit here listening, I want you to internalize this. You do not need to have clarity before action. You do not need to feel strong to take a step. You do not need perfection to begin. You only need willingness, attention, and courage. The willingness to start, the attention to notice yourself, and the courage to move even when it is hard. Movement transforms heaviness. Action drives folk. Presence restores connection with yourself. And every step, no matter how small, rewrites the story you tell yourself about your capacity, your resilience, and your life. You're not waiting for the fog to disappear. you are walking through it. And with each step, you will notice subtle shifts, a moment of clarity, a sense of ease, a spark of energy. Those small moments accumulate. They accumulate into forward momentum, into hope, into confidence that you can navigate complexity and still find meaning. The beauty of this approach is that it is sustainable. It does not demand heroism, perfection, or extreme effort. It demands consistency, presence, patience, and the understanding that every journey forward, no matter how small, matters. Every conscious step taken in the fog is proof of strength, proof of life, proof that you are capable of more than you often give yourself credit for. By now, you understand the weight you carry and why it feels so heavy. You've recognized the fog, the patterns, the expectations, and the internal pressures that keep you stuck. You've also begun to see that moving forward does not require perfection, clarity, or certainty. And now, it's time to translate this understanding into action. Small, deliberate steps that cultivate momentum, restore energy, and reconnect you with your own life. These steps are not grand gestures. They're not heroic feats. They are practical, achievable, and designed to fit into the life you already live. Their power lies not in magnitude, but in consistency. Each step you take, no matter how small, signals to your mind, body, and heart that you are reclaiming your agency, that you are alive, that you can navigate the fog instead of being crushed by it. 1. Start with one intentional morning action. Begin your day with a small act that grounds you. It could be as simple as taking 5 deep breaths, stretching for 2 minutes, or drinking water with attention. The key is intention. Do it consciously. By starting your day with presence, you signal to yourself that you are capable of shaping your experience, rather than being swept along by it. Over time, this small practice accumulates. It becomes a foundation, a moment of calm before the noise of the day begins. You might feel that 5 minutes isn't enough. That's okay. 5 intentional minutes are more powerful than 50 rushed ones. Momentum starts with what is manageable. 2. Reconnect with your body. Emotional heaviness often resides physically in tension, shallow breathing, tight shoulders, and restless energy. Movement is medicine. You don't need hours at the gym or extreme discipline. A 20-minute walk, a few stretches, or gentle yoga can release both physical and mental tension. Pay attention to how your body feels before and after. These small adjustments help your nervous system reset, giving your mind clarity and creating space for forward motion. Even simple awareness, sensing your breath, noticing your posture, or feeling your feet on the ground, can root you in the present and dissipate fog. 3. Create a micro-reflection practice. Writing is one of the most effective tools for untangling thoughts. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each day reflecting in a journal. Focus on 3 questions. What am I feeling right now? What small action can I take today to move forward? What am I grateful for, even in this moment? Do not judge your answers. Do not overthink. The goal is clarity, not perfection. This practice allows your mind to externalize the weight it carries, and in doing so, reduces its intensity. Reflection transforms chaos into insight. 4. Set one emotional boundary. Movement forward requires protecting your energy. Identify one area where you can establish a boundary today. It could be as simple as limiting notifications, saying no to a request, or stepping back from a conversation that drains you. Boundaries are not selfish, they are essential. They allow you to reclaim your focus, preserve your emotional resources, and create space for meaningful action. Even a small boundary can shift your energy dramatically. 5. Connect with another human being. Isolation magnifies heaviness. Reach out to one person you trust, even briefly. Share something small, how you're feeling, a thought you've been holding, or simply a hello. You do not need to solve all your problems or explain everything. The act of connection reminds your nervous system that you are not alone, that you are part of a shared human experience, and that your presence matters. Remember, vulnerability is not weakness. It is a bridge that restores energy, perspective, and resilience. 6. Celebrate small wins. Momentum is built by recognizing progress, however minor it seems. Did you take a walk? Did you write one sentence in your journal? Did you set a boundary? Each of these actions is a step forward. Take a moment to acknowledge it. Internal recognition reinforces the habit loop and builds confidence. Over time, these small wins accumulate into significant, visible progress. Movement becomes self-sustaining. 7. Focus on rhythm, not perfection. The goal is not to overhaul your life overnight. The goal is to create a sustainable rhythm, a pattern of action and reflection that keeps you moving forward. Think in terms of cycles: small daily practices, weekly reflection, periodic review. Allow setbacks, allow pauses. Momentum is not about speed, it's about continuity. Even slow, deliberate movement eventually carries you further than frantic bursts ever could. 8. Reframe setbacks as data, not defeat. You will stumble. You will have days when fog returns, energy wanes, or motivation falters. This is natural. It does not erase your progress. Instead, view these moments as feedback. What can they teach you? Which areas need gentler care? Which boundaries require adjustment? Setbacks are not failures. They are information. Each one provides an opportunity to recalibrate and move forward more effectively. 9. Anchor yourself in purpose. Momentum is easier to maintain when your actions are tied to purpose, however small. Purpose is not always grand or abstract. It can be as simple as cultivating presence, nurturing your own well-being, or investing in one meaningful relationship. Purpose provides direction. It gives weight to the small steps and reminds you why each effort matters. Even when the path is unclear, purpose illuminates the next step. 10. Daily micro-intentions. End each day with a single intention for tomorrow. It can be as small as noticing your breath in moments of tension, taking a short walk, or speaking honestly in one conversation. Micro-intentions are powerful because they create forward momentum without pressure. They become the thread connecting today to tomorrow and tomorrow to the day after, gradually weaving a life that feels more intentional, energized, and aligned. These 10 strategies are not exhaustive, but they are enough to create movement, restore energy, and cultivate agency in your life. They are small, deliberate, human actions that counteract the fog, dissolve heaviness, and reconnect you with your own capacity. Begin with what feels manageable. Do not overwhelm yourself. Progress compounds quietly when repeated consistently. This is how momentum is built. Remember, moving forward does not require you to be fearless, perfect, or fully healed. It requires awareness, presence, and action. Small, steady, deliberate action. Each step taken with intention breaks through the fog. Each act of courage, no matter how minor, strengthens resilience. Each moment of connection, reflection, or care restores energy. Over time, the accumulation of these small steps transforms your experience, your perspective, and your life. As we come to the close of this episode, take a moment to acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge that you showed up, that you listened, that you allowed yourself to explore your heaviness, your confusion, your fog. That alone is an act of courage. And that courage is not small. It is the foundation for every step you will take from this moment forward. The path forward is not a straight line. It is winding, unpredictable, sometimes slow, sometimes invisible. There will be days when you feel progress slipping, when the fog returns, when the weight feels unshakable. And yet, even in those moments, you are moving. Simply by noticing, by reflecting, by setting intention, you are cultivating momentum. You are learning to navigate life with awareness, presence, and resilience. Remember, you do not need to have everything figured out to move forward. You do not need to be strong in every moment. You do not need to act perfectly or constantly. You only need to start, to continue, and to return when you falter. Movement is built through repetition, consistency, and self-compassion. Each small step matters. Each moment of attention matters. Each act of care for yourself or others matters. Life is not waiting for you to be perfect. Life is waiting for you to participate. And your participation, no matter how small or imperfect it may seem, is powerful. It reconnects you to your own life, to your own strength, to your own story. The heaviness you carry will not vanish instantly, but it will become lighter, more navigable, more understandable, because you are engaging with it, not avoiding it. You are not alone. Millions of people navigate similar struggles, similar fog, similar weight. There is no shame in feeling this way. There is only opportunity. Opportunity to grow, to learn, to cultivate resilience, and to reclaim your energy one step at a time. So take one small step today. It might be writing a few sentences in your journal. It might be a short walk. It might be a pause to breathe deeply and feel your body. Whatever it is, recognize it. Celebrate it, and know that it is part of a larger journey, a journey that is yours, unfolding at your pace and your way. You have everything you need to begin again. You have the awareness, the courage, and the capacity to reclaim your momentum. Life continues, and you are part of it. You are capable, you are resilient, you are alive, and that alone is enough to start moving forward.